Just kidding, just kidding.
Yeah. I'm like, no.
Rachel, you're so good.
School for a teacher for a little time, like, yeah, she said, do you like to teach? Like,
Oh. That's 22.
yeah. I was like, well, I switched sophomore year.
No, this is awesome for us.
You do great
You know what?
fire.
We're not gonna ask these questions. I mean, it just is
Mhm.
so nice. This is what I wanted.
Yes. So,
Somebody who's already in the field and you can.
yeah, we can go to like all the panels and.
Yeah.
So these aren't the things that you learn in school.
No.
Of like, when you get your license, they don't really
Right.
pick them up. Which Kevin's class was great about the contracts. I can kind of go through it a little bit too if you need a refresher. But also, have
I
any of
haven't
you?
written one yet, so we'll.
Okay. Yes. Have you done a buyer consult? Like, do any of you have signed buyers currently?
Oh.
So what we kind of do is like, obviously the hardest part is find said buyers. So like open houses, I've had like, it takes a while to get the groove and to be like up and like, I don't know, to be confident enough to be like set the appointment. But I have learned that like, if you can get that conversation and like get their number, get them to sign in, do all the things and like have like, oh, well, are you kind of start setting the appointment in person? A lot of times they're more willing to come and meet. But fear, referral, all those are like typically, at least that's where 90% of my people have come from is family, like family friend, you know, like a friend of a friend. Like it's been very much like I've only helped maybe like 2 people that like truly cold, truly from the open house that I didn't know them
okay.
at all. Just because when you have some sort of a connection, even if like you don't know them personally, but you know, Sally knew them and you
Yeah.
were good friends with Sally, that's like that extra level of comfort. Anyways, so you set the appointment. We always do our appointments here. We don't do coffee shops. We don't ideally do like, unless you're doing a listing, knowing it's a 2-side, then you could do like their house. But just it has that level of professionalism that you have in the conference room. You just reserve a spot with Lydia, or maybe if you have an office or something that like an area that you could meet with them. It just is that level. It's less distraction. It makes them feel more important. It's more all things. So we like to do it here. When you at the coffee shop or different things, it gets loud, distracted.
Yeah.
They can't hear you very well.
Speaking of loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
Like this.
Sorry.
Like I have.
So
only
just
done-
buyers or list? Oh.
So it depends. Like I am more on buyer side.
Okay.
But when it's you know it's going to be a listing, then it's like you could do a 2-with-1 at their house. But ideally, if it's like, you know, they're currently renting or like, cause that's a lot of my people. I'm almost 28. So like the majority of the people in my sphere are first-time home buyers. So it's like, I don't really go to their apartment or something that happens here. But the twins, I can't give them any listing referral I have. And I'm their buyer's agent. So they will have like their step 1, they go with like tour of the house quick, and then like the next day or 2, they will do their whole listing application, and then they also will include, if they know they're gonna go buy, they're not gonna go like live at their cabin or something, then they would do it at the house. They wouldn't be like meet them at their house.
Right.
Oh, then come to us.
Right.
But like if you know it's strictly a buyer, try to get them here. Ideally, it's just more professional / all the things. And then when we sit down, like we don't be like, okay, Aaron, like start right away. Just like chat with them, catch up with them, like, you know, the first 5 or so minutes just to keep like it not as like intense. And then we have a handy little folder. So like you don't like it's nice to have, and then we just send them home. And then the amount of times I've been at like final walkthroughs or inspection recaps, and they're like holding this, like they won't put things in here and they'll keep it. And even if it's like it gets thrown in a drawer somewhere in their house, anytime they open it, it's just like they see your branding, they see things like it's nice. We have like our thing in here.
Can I see what you have in there?
Yeah. So this like I'll kind of go through it as if like
Okay, cool.
you guys are my buyers.
Yeah.
So I bought my house through Ben and Alex, and I still have the folder from.
Oh, funny.
When we were shopping.
Yeah.
It was really.
So you went to high school with them?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So they recruited you. Well, not really recruit, but like
It helps.
they helped. Yeah, because I wouldn't. So we start chat with them. We have like, we take notes too, like if they mention like dog's name, child's name, something like that. We like that we can, when you're giving the tour, you're like, oh, this is great for Bella for the backyard. Like, like then it looks like you. Anyways, so we start of the fact that we always, oh, it's, I'll show you. We have a little blurb. It's not in here. I need to scroll up a little bit. This one, I think this virtual one just has Ben and Alex kind of information, but it gives like little information about them. And then on the back side, it's about me because it depends on like who's our person. But we just have a little like snippet. We give the spiel in the beginning of like build your credibility.
Mhm.
So like you can use the office's numbers. You can use like we talk about, hey, we're in, because between the three of us, each one of us is in probably like 800 plus homes a year. So we talk about like we leverage that, like between open houses, showings, different things. Like it sounds like a lot, but then when you start thinking about like, okay, in a week, it's really common to be in 5+ houses. So it's like talk about that, like throw those type of statistics at them. We say how we close over 100 houses a year, like all those type of things. But like you can use until you're confident in sharing like maybe yours. Like so you can always ask Candy or Heather like the office because it's a we thing. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
just be like, because those are also your resources too. So it's like, or you can just talk about like your personal successes of like why you are so great of, your previous jobs or your different things, like, but build your credibility so then they like automatically just, it sets the pace, it sets that you know what you're talking about, like professional, all the different things. So we talk about, and then we talk about how we have like resources for anything. So, we have the plumbers, we have electricians, if you need anyone, let us know. And even if you don't have someone in the office will have it. So you post on the Facebook page, you text one of us, like people are willing to share names. As long as don't make them too busy and then they're too busy for us.
Yeah, right.
So there's some people hold really close to their heart and then other people.
My husband's a remodel.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
there
yeah.
you go. So then you can like use that
Of
credibility too, of like,
Mhm.
I know a lot, like I have walked many houses with my husband. I hear all things like, I'm great at going through the house and picking in and out and knowing the value of like,
Mhm.
oh, a kitchen ring, like I can help you, if you want to redo cabinets of something in a certain house or tear down the wall, I can tell you, give you those type of estimates. So when we do put in the offer, you are comfortable with what that would be.
Yeah.
So like
Love
not
that.
blindsided. So like use that to your advantage. So we like do that whole spiel. We do meet the team. So like there's a team of us. So we say, Ben and Alex, that's switched. If you guys don't know them right now, Alex does have a beard, so it's very helpful.
Don't.
Alex is the one with the beard. Ben is not, and it's swapped in here. So this is Ben. That's Alex. Swapped it. Myself and Jacob and Courtney. If you know him, Jacob used to be the technology guy here, so he used to do a lot of classes. But Courtney and Jacob's office is right there. If you have any questions about marketing or anything, Courtney always to answer those too. But we always say like them. And then we have again, like do what makes sense for you. Like that's half the reason. It's just you want to think print something out. Like a lot of times it's just like what flows for you. You make your Canva design or your different things, or you figure out how. So that way it's like still your touch. Then we go kind of into like trusted service providers. So we have like our mover on there. We have who we use for title. We have our preferred loan officer. We have our preferred inspector. We have someone from insurance. Like that way we have a stager on there. We have like stuff like that you could, you would have like your husband on it. You
Yeah.
would have like the little Eric, the loan officer here, if you haven't connected with the loan officer. And then this is always like changes every day, but like that way they know too. And sometimes they use it. And then this way we're like, these are who we trust. We switch our loan ops. Like we have our like top 3, but depending on the person that came through, like I do, like Tanya used to be the preferred loan officer here. Now it's Eric.
Yeah.
She moved to Florida. So she like comes back and forth anyways. there's like someone I went to high school with that is local, and he does all my first time homebuyer seminars. So anytime I get someone from like a homebuyer seminar, I make sure like his name is on this because he's the one that like they've met, they've done other things, or anyone that came from my high school lead, I would use him because he went to my high school as a year below me, so it's like,
Right.
so stuff like that. So like
Yeah.
you would maybe like print a few different options, just depending on like what walk of life. Maybe if you have like a family friend loan officer, you would pull anytime a family friend comes, you would use that person, just like,
Yeah,
you know,
I get it.
you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket. You absolutely can.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's nice to show a lot of people different love. But yeah, we have a stager, we have like all these different things. So just an idea, again, just building your credibility.
Is that Kim?
Yeah. So like building your credibility to tell people. And then we kind of go discuss if I'm moving too fast, or if you have questions, like the buying process. So these steps are kind of ours. You can add rid of duties, but we just kind of try to put it 1 through 15. You can do 20, you can do 10, you can like morph these however
Okay.
what makes sense to you. But we just so that they know, because majority of people, especially in my world, again, just upper 20s, young 30s are kind of my primary people I help. It's first time they're buying a house. So like they
Like my
don't-
kid.
Yeah, like you'd think that, like you're just not taught any of this ever.
No.
So like it's people come in, they're like, I don't even know what pre-approval means. I don't know like what, I just know I need to speak with a realtor at some point, and I saw that you are one on Instagram, like type of a thing. So it's just really nice to kind of like go slow, tell them like you'll get the same exact questions over and over again. So we've learned to like add certain bits of like things, but we like our main points, so like you guys can kind of be like discuss what you're looking for today, which is later on, and we'll, you know, connect with a loan officer, get pre-approved, we kind of touch on that. We remind them it's on our trusted services. We ask them right there and then if they want us, if they know of if they've started the pre-approval, if they know of a loan officer they want to use, or if they want an introduction. And then if they say, oh yeah, can you introduce to yours? Then right after the meeting, we will send a hello introduction. It's just a template that we have, just a quick copy and paste, switch he to she, she to he, them if it's the two of them or something. So that way you can get that connection right off the bat and tell them all the fun things about being pre-approved, and tell them to like, you don't have to share your top amount that you're pre-approved for. Because sometimes like if it is a close friend or something, they like feel funny, like
Right.
telling you maybe everything. They're like, you just tell me what your budget is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to know, I always say $10 million. Like, I'm like, I don't need to know that you are pre-approved for $10 million. If you just tell me your range that you would want, if you're comfortable with the monthly payments and all that. And then we talk about the portal, the one home access. Have you guys set up anyone on like the portal?
Which MLS?
On MLS so that they get like emails sent to them?
I have not.
I
would
I guess-
love for you to go over that.
Okay, so this is the portal.
Yeah, I know where it is. but-
Like I can
The
kind of
matrix?
show you, yes.
Yeah.
So like, let's see. We're gonna go. So these are all my people right now. This is my parents, and it's a joke. They said they want a cabin, so I just was like, you want a cabin? I'll send you a cabin thing. So like, they get emails then every time.
Yeah.
So like you guys are like familiar with, this is like not a signed
Yeah.
buyers. Why I'm comfortable with. This is just my parents me being funny with them. So like what you would do, so say to set one up, have you like, is that what you're kind of asking?
Yeah, I know how to use
Okay.
everything, but
It's a classic first time home buyer. They're looking for 3+ bedrooms, 1+ bath.
St. Louis Park, maybe.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of that.
That's where I live.
Yeah, that's where my son lives.
Yeah, it's a great area. So then it's like 3 bed, 1 bath, 1 car garage. You say active, coming soon. under contingencies, you press none. So it doesn't show like active, but an inspection, active, but contingent on a sale of another property. So they don't get all excited and they send you 123 Main Street and you're like, oh, that went pending 2 days ago. So that's a big thing. Under contingency, press
Okay.
none.
Okay,
But then, and all under here, you can, do the all single family. We talk later in our presentation, which I can show you, like, if they were really serious about like, do not show me split entry, we can like make sure we get rid of that. But, their budget between 250 and 400. And then we press the map.
Yeah.
Ba, ba, ba. And
okay,
then
I've
you
done
want
that right so far.
the classic Golden Valley, St. Louis Park, Hopkins. Beautiful, love it, results. So it's like, okay, ideally, we like to have at least like 20.
Can you go back to what you just did? Okay, you went to the map, which I always do, but
And then
then.
I clicked the draw polygon. And then you can that way you can manipulate it a little bit more. So say they like are open to the Linden Hills, but they don't necessarily want to do like uptown. So you cut it like kind of over here. So you can be a little bit more like precise.
Okay, and that's with, I'm sorry, say that one more time.
That was with the draw polygon.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
So then this is their areas. And then say like they love St. Louis Park, but they're like, I don't want Golden Valley for some reason. I don't know. Everyone has their thing. So like you can always either press criteria and you can include not. So you can type in Golden Valley here, or you can always on the map, you could like make your own little, like if they wanted everything surrounding Golden Valleys, it's like a little tricky. You can always like make a little square here. And then you can exclude this shape. So nothing that will pop up in that area would get sent to them. So like, if they're really particular, like they want St. Louis Park, but they don't want to be up against like this freeway area, you could just like make a little red spot then that doesn't get sent to them. Just sometimes people have certain zip codes or different things that they wouldn't want, but they want everything kind of around it.
Right.
You can do that, or you can just easily type in the postal city. Anyway, so then you press results. And then you press all of them. And then under save on the bottom here, you'd press new auto email. Create a new, I'm just gonna cancel, I'm gonna use myself, I'm in here somewhere. Okay, so then we have home search begins with the deserved property twins as our subjects. You would say like home search begins, and either if you guys decide your first last name, or if you want to brand yourself as, the fantastic homes or whatever it is, you'd put that in your subject line. And then it automatically fills in because it knows my first name is Rachel here. We just have a classic little blurb that says, like, I've set you on a new safe search for your one home, and one home there is no app. You will get asked that often. There is no app. It is strictly just the website. I'll send you any new updated listings that match what you're looking for. Let me know what you think of the listings. We can adjust your safe search at any time. You can also like or dislike and leave notes for me on any listing. Now, signature my name. You, this is my own address. Typically right here, you can click on an enable, you would want to enable that just because, you don't have to, but if you don't enable it, you'll get bombarded by other realtors saying like, one of my houses that I have coming up got sent to one of your buyers. They can it's just like these which is fine. You could always get those emails. You could kind of maybe see how people work it. But I always I can't click it right now because they know that that's me and they're like, but we always press enable that just so that you don't get spammed with like, hey, because it might be like not the house for them, but it's all the criteria. So you get like especially if you have a lot of buyers set up, you might get a lot of those emails the same like from other listing realtors that say like, it's their marketing. But then down here, you can say, depending on how serious they are, if they're like, we want to be under contract in 2 weeks, you maybe press ASAP. So any single time, they could get like 30 emails that day. Like anytime a house hits the market or is coming soon or a price adjustment, they get an email immediately. Or you can do like, we typically set it up maybe like 3 times a week if they're like 6 months out. If they're within like the next 2-3 months, we do maybe more 4 or 5. You would click, it would get sent to them at 6 a.m. in the morning, and then every morning it would come along with like a big list, and you'd press save, and then it's sent, and I can kind of show you. Takes a minute or two. So, do you have any questions about kind of how I did that? So we also, which I'll touch on later, we like talk up the one home, we talk about how it gets sent to them right away. It's the coming soons, as we talk about how Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com is like, they could be 24 to 72 hours delayed. So that's why a lot of times you'll see a house on Redfin and you get all excited about it, but it's pending because people who have the MLS access see it view. That's why we talk up the one home in the portal. And we do not set anything up like that until we have signed docs. It's like you have to sign in order to get that. That's just, which I'll touch on later, but come on. Doesn't want to come through. This is from here. So like, this is kind of like what they would come, like one home, the first one says welcome to one home, but this is the email they would get. It would show, this is from over a year ago, but it would show kind of like, hey, today, between the last 24 hours, I emailed you these or God, and then you can, I don't know if I press view properties, it will even show up because this is an old, yeah. I wanted to grab an older. These trash. So it's like you click on it, all listing. So it would show kind of all the, this is kind of what it looks like for them. They can thumbs it down or heart it, and you see that on your end. These are like all the results. And then you can, on your end, you would see like I have people hearting theirs, and then you can see like the house. And then if you like, you could text them reasoning, like for this example, I've had about 6 different buyers send this to me, but it is a house that has a requirement. It's a trust land. So like, you have to make, if it's one person living there or one person bringing in income, they have to be making under 66,000 to qualify for this house. Just with the affordable housing land trust that this house is in. So I've had about 4 or 5 different buyers come and ask me about it. So like, this would be something that I might reach out to them like, hey, I see that you hearted this house because Anytime that's a 3-bed, 1-bath, 2-car garage for $299, I completely understand, but like, there's 2 of you, so you have to be making under 70,000. And so, anyways. Moving on. That's that. Yeah, of course.
Thank you for doing all of that. Oh my gosh.
So,
This is so good.
so then we gain portal. Again, we'll say like at this point, we'll just talk about like, hey, we'll set you up, you can heart it, you can dump it down. And if it's a couple, they would have the access to the same thing. You could put like 3 emails to it. So like, even if maybe it's like a loved one is gifting them the house or a down payment, they want to like be involved too. We don't really see that very often, but you can add as many people as you want to it, so like couples can see it. So the one thing that we do always make like a joke about is like, if I go in and heart it or trash it, it then is like trashed on like the husband's side too. So we say like, if your favorite house is in the trash can, it's not us, like, go call your wife.
Yeah.
Or something like that, like, yeah, so just like, they will like share it. But, and then we also let them know, we don't get notified, like, I don't get pinged anytime someone hearts something or trash can, so like,
Maybe all day long.
yes, so it's like, I'm like, feel free if it's midnight to go in there and like heart blah 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 blah. But it's like the fastest way to let us know you really want to see a house, because sometimes people like don't heart at all. Some people are like avid hearters, and
Yeah.
some people just like text us like, can I go see the house?
Yeah.
So like, we always say just the easiest is we always have our phones, so either email us, screenshot the address, text us the address, give us your availability or whatever it might be. Then we talk about tour the homes of interest. We talk about how we will point out before we even get there if there is a railroad track nearby, if it's near the highway, if it's, we always press Google street photo thing to make sure, like, recently a lot of houses for sale right now, I feel like are facing a sound wall. And it doesn't mean that they can't go see it, and we always tell them that, but like, we just want you to be educated, because the amount of times you get to a house and they don't even want to go in because of the location. So it's like you save yourself the 15, 20 minutes by just doing those quick little like, hey, there's a railroad track like in your backyard. Are you okay with that? Because if you are, fine. Or, you know, hey, that's Lake Nokomis area. Planes will be pretty loud. It's a beautiful area. Are you okay with, you know, waving to people on the Delta flights going over you?
Yeah.
And if they are, then they are. So
Yeah.
like, everyone is different. So you don't want to make that decision for them. You just have to like ask
That's
or like kind of remind them like, yep, we can absolutely show you that Lake Nokomis home.
Ask a question. Do you ever have people go drive by an area
Yes.
where you're like, I don't know, that doesn't, you know, rather than pull up the map, just have them go look at
Yeah,
it?
so we always
you
do
usually do it?
request
How do
that too, like, if you have the time, please drive by. A lot of people don't have the time or don't do it, so then we just also take screenshots and be like, hey, this is the sound wall you're facing from your front door, this is why it's been sitting
Okay.
for a few days, because it's like very close to this freeway.
Mhm.
Are you okay with that? And they might say, yes, they are okay with it, or they think they're okay with it, and they get there, they're like, oh no, I'm not okay with it, and then they're way more apologetic, because they're like, you warned me about this, like, so sorry. So it's just kind of like, again, showing that you have some value.
How do you, like, what is the actual, words you use to say, like, if you know, you're like, I don't know if this is a good, you know, like,
Just be like,
you just
"Hey."
say, hey, do you want to try
Yes,
it?
just like, or I'd be like, hey, I noticed that this house, like, the reason why I may be sitting for this, like, why it didn't get sold over the weekend is, this is what the front view is, like, are you okay with it? It will be pretty noisy, you know, like, up to you, like, you know, something along the lines of like, I'm more than happy to still show it to you, but wanted to give you the heads up. And then we'll
Okay.
soften them out there, like, thank you for letting me know, I'm passing.
Okay.
Or like, hey, the railroad track, are you okay with that? Which we do ask during things, like if they're okay with being on a busy road, if they're okay with being near a railroad track, and even if they are, we still bring it up to them when they pick the busy road. Because it's like the busy road, I don't know, Cedar Lake and St. Louis Park versus a 50-mile-per-hour road. That's kind of the
Right.
difference of like, oh, I can pull out on a 25-mile-per-hour road versus a highway, like.
Our son bought on the Minnetonka
Yeah.
Boulevard.
Yeah.
There was a gas station. I mean, I.
Oh, yeah, the
never,
mobile right there.
But he's 26 years old. He's happy as a lark.
I used to be
So-
Jersey Ave right there.
Okay.
like Jersey in 27.
Oh, yeah.
So like, right
Mm-hmm.
there.
So there
Now,
are differences.
now I'm, yeah, but there's differences. And then,
For
but we always tell people too, like, they use, oh, a lot of people know, but if you buy on Minnetonka, you get more house for less because they get a little bit cheaper. And a lot of times it's like those alleys are off the back.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
That's it.
yeah, it's like you're not pulling onto the street.
Right.
So we also, yeah. And then we talk about like writing off on the one, yeah, how can tell people, we give them in their mind that you'd be more surprised, you'd be very surprised how often you show before someone knows to put it off of it. And we let people know that too, so they like have that kind of idea going in, like, oh, I should not only, like, if we see 5 houses, and we don't often should have a powwow, to figure out what are we missing? What should we switch here? Obviously sometimes it's just like a good market and they're just unfortunately not there for them, but like we tell people like, don't worry if you see one and you want to find out. Like just 2 weeks ago, I have one pending right now and it was the first offer got accepted within a day. They're like, oh, and so like those ones are always fun and easy,
Oh,
but like
yeah.
it's just like depending on the people, the area, the competition. Sometimes people like one of those people like, I'll just write on any house.
It will start with not a month.
So I have one under inspection
Thank you for being here.
right now. Yeah, no, it's, we just extended the inspection to see, because we asked, yeah. But they're willing to get this, right? So we're hoping the sellers. We're just pricing.
Yes.
So, anyways, and then we talk about like, we'll talk about how we write and offer suggestions. So we always, so they don't go in blind. We give comparable source codes. We just do what I just did, like to set up on search, but instead of like active and coming soon, I do pending, I do close. So like I can kind of show you. I'll go back on close. Ideally, like I first do 180, and then if I'm not getting enough or not similar homes, I go up to 2. So, for example, if we want to do our classic 3-bed, 2-bath home, closed, comp sold. Closed are more important than pending and active because you do not know what they sold for or what they will sell for. But sometimes we include those just to show like, hey, that house was listed for 20,000 over what you bought your house or want to buy this house for, and it was on the market for a day. So maybe if that went, but you focus in more on the closed and comp closed because those are truth. Where pending, you don't know what happens. Or like maybe appraisal came back low, so it like they started at a certain number, but they'll close lower, or there's a lot of different things. So say we got to stick with park areas. I know a lot of that have closed there. Oh, didn't register my name. Right, these are kind of tangents, but I hope that's okay. Is that allowed? Okay, so like this is a lot of, so then at this point, because this is 6 results, I might say, okay, the total square footage was, maybe you're looking at a house that's 1,500 square feet, which is pretty common in the St. Louis Park area. So I'm willing, can we look at houses being then you kind of like give a range, so it's not, you're not looking at 3,000 square foot homes. You might want it like, then it's only like a few hundred either way. We can add the garage stalls. Now it's 21, that's good. So now result. And then I
this, which I am not sure how you do that. Jacob set that up for me, so if you want, you may have to ask Mr. Jacob how this is done. But I always switch my little thing to my property search, and then that way it shows list price, close price. And then
Otherwise, what would it show?
it shows price. So this way it shows just a little bit more, and it like shows what it was listed for. So I'm sorry, I don't know how you do that. Jacob did that for me. He may, it's right there, and that is the thing. So if you want to ask him, but so this way, it's just like it's nice to see. All right, this house, for example, was 12. So if we say we want to, we're going for this guy right here. Been on for 3 days. I'm not gonna look at pictures right now because that's all is helpful. If like maybe one's super outdated, one is not. I'm just gonna look at facts right now. So this is a 1/2, which is really important too. So like maybe I would switch and like 1 and 1/2 was all. So now all these are 1/2. So and then 385. There was a 505 and started at 460. And that might be like, that'd be really nice. But then you can kind of see like, okay, there's 290, 292, and 385. But then you have to keep in mind too that all these are a little bigger. This is 1400, where like the 1400 was the 355. And this one might not be as, and this one's also bet on for 1 2, so maybe this is not the best. But this is kind of what we would use for like to send them comparable solutions to help them figure out what price we should bid for. This one, I apologize, maybe I'll go back and pick a different active house that we come with actually good. That one has been on for 150 days. There's clearly something cookie with this, / it's overpriced, and so we just kind of saw that it should be 30,000. So. Okay. Library Lane, that's one story. So again, ideally you start with this, click on the one story, because a Rambler is a lot different than a 1.5. If you have your primary on the main floor versus primary upstairs and all the back. But so like this one was looking for 439, and that seems a bit high. It's like you would send maybe to them. They're like, hey, the last, like this one right on Library Lane, right down the street. Oh, maybe 2, granted, looking at photos, might be like one nicer than the other. Just kind of looking at that. These are what we do is we copy the MLS number and we then like all MLS numbers together. We then like click I always compose these and I'm like, okay, I like this one and I'm like, okay, I like this one is a good one too. And then we try to send them at least 8. But depending on the house, might have like 12 and might have. But anyway, so then we'd be like, okay, these are what we like, and then we type those up there. So I copy and paste MLS numbers that I like from all the different types of shirts, which I did. And then I would now email these to myself. And then I send it up. So they can click and they would get kind of sometimes I do look at the different, like, rather than doing something. We can always do that. Sometimes we look at, like the tax on it too. You know, like, go down. We would look at like tax, go to like, in, if we're not finding rate comparable sold, we go to like, for the
Realist one?
realist, yes. We go to realist and we like, but a lot of times it's like appraisals and things, they used to be comparable. That's why I like it, like. But, and then sometimes that's when you find out this house is very old. Right? Then, well, so then we send that over, we talk about like earnest money in this time, and I was like, earnest money, typically 1 to 2% of the thing, about trust funds, that we send that to you. We talk about the different just offer for in that email. So, we will talk about, in the email, we'll give the link, variable sold homes, and say we suggest this price. And we also write on the top, you are the boss. These are just suggestions. Like, you are the boss, like, we were just simply giving you suggestions of what to do. Here's the amount of per fee. Here's the days of inspection. If we're a non-competition, we do the 7 days. If we're in competition, we do it lower. Sometimes we do have to do a pass-fail inspection if we know it's gonna be in competition. Pass-fail inspection, just a little bit more like attractive to the sellers. Then we talk about closing date and that time. If a lot of times the listing agent will put an agent note if there is a closing date, otherwise reach out to them and ask. So we put the close date in there. We also, a lot of times, I put a little tidbit of like, that means your first payment will be, because for those who don't know, if you close after the 8th of the month, your payment is not the following month, it's the next one. So if you close May 8th, it's July 1st. But if you close May 1st, your first payment is June 1st. So that's something to pop up, especially if maybe you are working with someone that's currently renting and they're worried about paying double. You can say, hey, well, we can try really hard to find you a house and then also have it close after the 8th or after of a month. That way you can essentially pay a month, write it out. So it gets worked into the closing costs and those different things that you can mention. Your closing might be a little bit more, but that just like some people like, oh, that'd be great. I can move slowly. I can paint. I can do something. And then we'll talk about negotiations. We talk about how home inspections, they are technically optional, but we recommend them. We talk about how home inspections, these are the 3 that we recommend, is radon. We talk about how radon is natural odorless gas worldwide. Don't let it, but it is the second leading cause of cancer for lung cancer, so that is why we test for it. We say how it's most apparent in basements, and it's like especially important to get it if you have younger children, because it's a heavier gas, so it does typically stay low to the ground. If your home office is in the basement, if you have a bedroom in the basement, anything like that, like that next level of importance to test for it. We also like to test for it because it is a health and safety issue with that more common than not all sellers, but because it's a health and safety issue, a lot of times sellers are willing to put in a mitigation system for you during the inspection contingency or willing to compensate you for one. Doesn't mean they will, but it's nice to test for it and then at least have that leverage. It is, yeah, secondly, oh, and we also say how all new construction since 2017, it's mandatory to have a radon mitigation. So and that kind of makes us be like, oh, okay, so now it's like, and we'll probably see about 30 of it, so like, pretty much now every time a house sells, gets one. Not every, but then the sewer lines, so, we get that. You do not know what that's grants and maybe or if it's like whatever. I just get the full room, like get those cleared out during the section and then confirm everything. Okay. But if I had to would get if there was the only one, that can add some, but always recommend all. Then the traditional inspection, you tell them how the inspector's there for 2-3 hours before you arrive to the walkthrough. It is their job to have any inspection. It's a very negative 45 minutes walkthrough. It's their job is to point out any inspection, anything that's no longer up to code, not functioning in the current code. But it's the code, hey, are kept on by you. Big things like when sellers are trying to hide things. This and we really try to drill it in. Sections at a time. And at this point, sellers can't leave the sellers and now walk away from the only buyer. So we can always be gently prepared or to become closing something so that you maybe have $2,000 extra dollars. Install the radar. Fix light fixture. Yeah. More often than not, I do. Very rare that it's there, and because it also just helps you. Then you're like realizing what they point out. So then when you give tours, you just start pointing things out, and like they ask you questions and fix it, and you get like really excited. But yes. But we just let them know like, because sometimes people come in and they're like, oh well, the deck is chipped. Like, can we ask for $500 to paint the deck? Well, you saw the deck was chipping. Well, we're showing how. That's not the plan. Actually, it's big ticket items that we did not like, or health and safety issues that we did not know. Health and safety, like that there's maybe mold, that there is radon is high, big ticket items, maybe there's a collapsed sewer line, all those, like we just kind of drive in for big ticket items, health and safety issues. It's not, oh, I want paint deck, like, well, that's cosmetic. So it's like, those are just kind of things. And every house will have, even new construction, and result back better. Like, it's gonna be daunting, probably 50 pages. Does not mean you have to. There's a foundation issue, there's different things like that. We can absolutely run, get your earnest back. Then the appraisal is sent by the loan officer. We talk about how, earnest money. Oh, okay, perfect. Sorry, I can go fast now. Oh, okay. Earnest money is that, earnest money is earnest money, home inspection, and the appraisal are the three things you have, the buyer is in charge of paying pre. Even though earnest for the, we always say, make sure you have your earnest money ready, that you have inspections and the size of the house is like $400, $500 plus the add-ons of like the radon sewer lines, like budget $900 for inspection, and then the appraisal is typically like $500. And then we kind of talk about like the homeowners insurance, do the title work, you know, final approval, arrange utilities, like all these, like arrange utilities in your name. We'll talk about how we do the final walkthrough the day before, then closing in person.
And then last year, then we give them a map so that they can circle the areas that they want and not want. And then we have like a questionnaire that we just like, it literally just talks about like beds, how many beds, do you have a preference? Like, bedrooms per floor, bathroom, garage, are you okay with the garage being in an alley? Are you okay with it being unattached? Style of house, 2-story rambler, split entry, are you picturing a single family, town home? Like, we ask all those types of questions, and a lot of times we just say, hey, tell us your ideals, most like must-haves. And then a lot of times they cover majority of the questions. We don't even cover all these, but it's just pretty much like, hey, are you okay to have, you near railroad? Are you okay with radiators, or do you want forced heat? Like stuff like that that we can like ask.
You can sharing your questionnaire.
Oh yeah, this is it's really like very one-on-one of like location, but yes, absolutely, you guys can, but like garages, bathrooms,
No, it's gonna try and write
interior.
all that down.
And then we talk about, we have Cinch here for home warranty program. And then we have a little thing about like our preferred loan officer. And then at the very end, we go over the docs and we have them sign as they go. Learn that that's like
Yeah.
better than like we go through it. And then we're like, okay, now. Like we go through it, they sign as they go, because now they're like kind of in the flow of signing and listening and, or like better than use maybe like sending for electronic. You just kind of like, and we do that last, just so that like you're building rapport, you're talking in front, and then we're like, okay, now, and the first thing we do when we pull those out, we're like, okay, now to get you set up on that portal and to get you set up with our loan officer, to like do all those next steps, and for us to show you when you home, we can meet you. And then there are a lot of times it's our sphere and our people that are.
Right. And then you already have those. Where is that?
They're like the docs, we have them
Yeah.
printed out.
Oh, you have them all right there.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then we highlight for, kind of like where they do initials, and they just kind of, a lot of times, like, they're initialing or signing as I'm still talking about like the points up here.
That's all the docs they need to sign.
So yeah, we start with agency, which needs to get signed no matter what during your fire consult because of the information we give. But then you don't have to obviously never anything besides agency, because they gave you motivation, they gave you what they want, they gave you budget, they gave you all those things, but like they don't have to sign fire reps at that time. We just love
I
them.
leave.
Yeah. But the one thing that like before they leave, they would need to sign agent because they told you things. So that is kind of all of it. Guys have questions?
How long do you usually?
It takes about 45-ish minutes. Cause you're just chatting, like this part takes a little bit too, cause they get excited and they talk and they're like, oh wait, offense, oh, well, the first, okay, they'll tell people like, what's your like dream scenario? They're like, oh, we don't